In this session, we are going to solve a few questions based on simultaneous equations. Let us take a look at this question. 2 women and 5 men can together finish a piece of work in 4 days, right? This is the first condition that is given. And it is also given that 3 women and 6 men can finish the same work in 3 days. So we have to find the time taken by one woman alone to finish the work and the time taken by one man alone to finish the same work. So now I am going to assign the variables for the days taken by man and woman to complete the work. So we will say let one man take X days to complete the work, to finish the work, and let they have given woman first, so let one woman take X days to finish the work, and let one man take Y days to finish the work, right? So we know that we definitely cannot add the number of days taken by them, meaning that if one man and one woman, they work together, they will definitely not take X plus Y days to finish the work, right? But we know that we can definitely add the amount of work done by them in one day. So if one woman takes X days to finish the work, it means in one day, one woman can finish 1 by X of the work, right? And in one day, one man can finish 1 by Y of the work, right? So this is what can be concluded. Now let's see what is the condition given. It's given that 2 women and 5 men, they finish the work in 4 days. That means in one day, they will finish 1/4 of the work, isn't it? If they are finishing the complete work in 4 days, assuming that they are working at the same efficiency, meaning they complete the same work in the same amount of time, it means that in one day, they will finish 1/4 of the whole work. And similarly, 3 women and 6 men can therefore finish 1/3 of the work in one day. This is what it means. Now we know that one woman can finish 1/x of the work. So 2 women will finish 2 times 1 by X of the work, right? And one man can finish 1 by Y of the work. It means 5 men can finish 5 into 1 by Y of the work. This will be equal to 1 by 4. And similarly 3 women, so 1 woman can finish 1/x of the work. It means 3 women will finish 3 into 1 by X plus 1 man will finish 1 by Y of the work. So 6 men will finish 6 into 1 by Y of the same work, and this equals 1 by 3, right? So these are the two equations that I now have. I will pause for a few moments so that you can take a look at what was done, and then we will use the substitution method to find the values of X and Y. Okay, so now let's see how to solve this question. We can say that let A be equal to 1 by X and let B be equal to 1 by Y. So this means 2A plus 5B is equal to 1 by 4. And I also know that 3a plus 6b is equal to 1 by 3. So now I am going to multiply this equation by 4, and therefore I get 8a plus 20b is equal to 1, and 9a plus 18b is also equal to 1. So these are the two equations that I should now think of solving. So let's mark these as equations 3 and 4, right? So I will now first solve for a and b, and then I will solve for x and y. So let's multiply the third equation by 9, okay? So let's multiply third equation by 9. So that gives me 72a plus 180b is equal to 9. And let's multiply the fourth equation by 10. So it becomes 90a plus 180b is equal to 10. And now let's subtract. So when I subtract, b cancels, and therefore minus 18a is equal to minus 1, which means a equals 1 by 18. But what is a? A is actually 1 by x. So 1 by x equals 1 by 18. This implies x is equal to 18. So one woman will take 18 days to finish the work, right? So x is 18. So one woman will take 18 days to finish the work. Now let us substitute a as 1 by 18 in any of these two equations. Let me substitute it in equation say 4. Okay. So substitute a as 1 by 18 in say equation 4. We get 9 into 1 by 18 plus 18b is equal to 1. Now 9 into 1 by 18 is divisible by 2, which means 18b is equal to 1 minus half. This is half. This half will transpose to the other side for subtraction. So it is 1 minus half will be half, which means b is 1 by 36, right? And therefore, if b is 1 by 36, I know that b is nothing but 1 by y. So 1 by y equals 1 by 36, which implies y is equal to 36. And therefore, one man takes 36 days to finish the same work. So how would I write this in the statement? One woman takes 18 days to finish the whole work, while one man takes 36 days to finish the same work. So this is how I go about solving work related problems. Let me pause for a few seconds before I move on to the next one. Okay, let's consider the next question now. Let's take a look at this question now. 8 men and 12 boys can finish a piece of work in 10 days, while 6 men and 8 boys can finish it in 14 days. Find the time taken by one man alone and one boy alone to finish the same work. So again, let me assign the variables quickly. Let me say, let x be the number of days taken by one man alone to finish the work. And I will also say that let y be the number of days taken by one boy alone to finish the same work, right? So now what will happen is, because X is the number of days taken by one man, I can say that in one day, one man will finish 1 by X of the work, and in one day, one woman will finish. I'm sorry, there's no woman in this problem. There's a boy. I'm sorry about this. So let one boy finish 1/8 of the work, right? Now let's investigate the conditions that are given. 8 men and 12 boys. So 8 men and 12 boys, they can finish the work in 10 days, meaning in one day they finish 1/10 of the work. Similarly, 6 men and 8 boys can finish the work in 14 days. It means in one day they finish 1/14 of the work, right? Now one man in one day can finish 1 by X of the work. That means 8 men will finish 8 into 1 by X of the work, right? So this will be 8 into 1 by X and 6 into 1 by X. And one boy can finish 1 by Y of the work. That means 12 boys will finish 12 into 1 by Y of the work and 8 into 1 by Y of the same work. So this is first and second equation. Now it's time to substitute some variables, but still I will pause for a couple of seconds for you to take a look at how the equations were framed, and then we will continue with our substitution. Okay, let us now substitute our variables. Let us say let 1 by x equal to a and let 1 by y equal to b. Therefore, I can say that 8a plus 12b is equal to 1 by 10 and 6a plus 8b is equal to 1 by 14, right? Now let us decide which variable to eliminate. I would mark this as the third and fourth equation. I would like to eliminate the variable a. So the LCM is 24, which means I should take this equation and multiply it by 3, right? 8 3s would give me 24. So first equation multiplied by 3 and the second equation should be multiplied by 4. 6 4s are 24. So 8a into 3 is going to be 24a. Plus 12b into 3 is 36b is equal to 3 upon 10. And multiply this equation by 4, you get 24a plus 32b is equal to 4 upon 14, which is 2 upon 7. Now let's go ahead and subtract the two equations. So when I subtract the two equations, what I get is a would vanish, right? And therefore 36b minus 32b is going to be 4b, which is 3 by 10 minus 2 by 7. So this is 21 minus 20, that's 1 upon 70, which means b is equal to 1 by 280, right? Therefore, b is nothing but b is 1 by y. So 1 by y equals 1 by 280, which means y is equal to 280. So what it means is one boy alone will take 280 days to complete this work. Now let us find the value of a. So let's substitute b as 1 by 280. So I get 6a plus 8 into 1 by 280, so 8 by 280 is equal to 1 by 14. So let's push the 8 by 280 to the other side. So it is 1 by 14 minus 8 by 280. And if you simplify this, this is going to be 12 divided by 280. So 6a equals 12 by 280. So a equals 12 upon 280 multiplied by 6. And 6 2s are and 140s are. Therefore, a is 1 by 140. But a is actually 1 by x. So 1 by x equals 1 by 140, which means x equals 140, right? And therefore, the men will take 140 days to complete the same work, right? So the answer would be the time taken by one man alone would be 140 days, and the time taken by one boy alone would be 280 days. So this is how we can solve this question. Again, let me pause for a few seconds before I move on. Moving on to the next one. The incomes of A and B are in the ratio 8:7 and their expense is in the ratio 19:16. Each of them saves 1250. Find their incomes. So I know that the ratio of the incomes is given. It's 8:7. So I can, because the ratio is given, I can consider a common ratio. So let the common ratio for income be x. This means A's income is going to be 8x. A's income is 8x and B's income is going to be 7x, right? And the ratio of their expense is also given. So their expense is in the ratio 19:16, which means A's expense is going to be 19y. Let's assume that the common ratio for expenses, is say y. So A's expense is 19y and B's expense is 16y, right? Now it is given that each of them saves 1250. So A's savings can be written as A's income minus A's expense, which means 1250 is A's income is 8x and A's expense is 19y. So 1250 is equal to 8x minus 19y. This is the first equation. And similarly, I can say that B's savings is going to be B's income minus B's expense, which means 1250 1250 is B's income is 7x minus B's expense is 16y, right? So this is my second equation, and now I can solve for these two equations. The technique that I used here was assigning a common ratio for income as well as expenses, and therefore I can say 8x minus 19y is equal to 1250, and 7x minus 16y is equal to 1250. Now, of course, you know the method of elimination, right? You will multiply both the equations by some values so that one variable gets eliminated. But what I want to show you here is an interesting idea. See, because both of them are equal to 1250, what I will do is I will say 8x minus 19y is of course equal to 7x minus 16y. So I am making use of the fact that both the LHS values are equal to 1250, which means the two left hand sides have to be equal to each other. And therefore 8x minus 7x is 19y minus 16y, or solving x is equal to 3y, right? So this is my first equation, this is my second equation, and now this is my third equation. So what I will do is I will say substitute x equals 3y in say equation 1, right? And I will get 8x minus, 8 into 3y. So we should substitute x as 3y. So 8 into 3y minus 19y is equal to 1250. So 24y minus 19y is 5y equals 1250, which means y is equal to 250, right? This is the first equation. Now x is 3 times y, so x will be 3 times 250, which is 750, right? Now they're asking me find their incomes. So A's income is given by 8x, which is 8 times 750, and 8 times 750 is 6000, and 7 times 750 will be 5250. Therefore, I can say that A's income is equal to 6000. A's income is 6000 and B's income is equal to 5250. This is how I find the answer. Of course, in this question, y was found, but it was never used because we didn't have to find the expense, and that's why y was just found to find x, right? But this is how we go about this particular question. Let me pause for a few minutes before I move on. Moving on to the next question. In a rectangle, the length is increased and the breadth is reduced each by 2 units. The area is reduced by 28 square units. If, however, the length is reduced by 1 unit and the breadth is increased by 2 units, the area increases by 33 square units. Find the area of the rectangle. So we have 3 cases here. One is the normal rectangle, right? The other case is where the length is increased by 2, so it becomes slightly broader, but the breadth is reduced by 2, so it becomes thinner, right? And in the third case, the area is the length is reduced by 1, so its length reduces by 1. So let's reduce the length by 1, and the breadth increases by 2 units, so it becomes broader, right? Now, in each case, let us quickly mark all its dimensions and let's find the expression for area. So the length here is L, the breadth here is B. So I will say let the length be L, let the length of the rectangle, let the length of the rectangle be L, and let the breadth be B, breadth be B. In this case, the length is increased by 2, so this is L plus 2, and the breadth is decreased by 2, so this is B minus 2. In the original case, the area is LB, and in the second case, the area is L plus 2 multiplied by B minus 2, which is LB minus 2L plus 2B minus 4, right? This is the area of the changed rectangle, the rectangle shown in the second diagram. And in the third case, the length is reduced by 1, so the length is L minus 1, and the breadth is increased by 2 units, so it is B plus 2, and therefore the area is given by L minus 1 multiplied by B plus 2. So this becomes LB plus 2L minus B minus 2, right? So these are the three different areas. So what I can do is, it's given that the area in the second case is reduced by 28 square units. That means the area in the second case, that's LB minus 2L plus 2B minus 4, is the original area reduced by 28 square units, right? Now here LB cancels. Therefore minus 2L plus 2B is equal to minus 24, which means minus L plus B is equal to minus 12, right? This is the first equation. Now let's take a look at the second equation. In the second equation I have, what happens is this area, the area increases by 33 square units, right? That is given to us. The area increased by 33 square units means the third case, that is LB plus 2L minus B minus 2. This area is the original area plus 33. So again over here LB cancels, and therefore 2L minus B is equal to 35. This is the second equation that we have, right? And now we can definitely solve these two equations. I have 2L minus B is equal to 35 and minus L plus B is equal to minus 12. If I solve this, if I just add this, B goes away. So L is equal to 23. And if L is equal to 23, then I can find the value of B. So let's substitute L as 23. Let's mark these equations 1 and 2. So substitute L as 23 in, say, the first equation. So minus 23 plus B is equal to minus 12, which means B equals 23 minus 12, that equals 11. Therefore, the original breadth is 11 units and the original length is 23 units. So the area of the rectangle will therefore be 23 into 11. 23 into 11 is going to be 253 square units. Now let's quickly check if the conditions are getting satisfied. So in the first case, they have said that the length increases by 2. So why don't we increase the length by 2? Instead of 23, the length will now be 25. And instead of 11, the breadth will be 9. The area of this rectangle will be 25 into 9, which is 225. You will notice that the area has reduced by 28 square units, right? 253 and it has now become 225, which means the area has reduced by 28 square units. Now let's increase the length, let's decrease the length by 1. In the third case, the original length was 23. Now the length is 23 minus 1, which is 22. And the breadth is B plus 2. So 11 plus 2 is 13. So now let's find 22 into 13. The area will be 22 into 13, which is 286. So as compared to 253, the area has increased by 33 square units, which also matches the condition given in the question. And that is why our solution is perfectly fine. So the length was 23, the breadth was 11, and therefore the area was 23 into 11, which is 253 square units. So pausing for a few seconds before I move on. Moving on to the next one. So let's consider this question now. A railway half ticket costs half the full fare. Okay. And the reservation charge is same on the half ticket as full ticket. So the reservation charge on half ticket is same as the reservation charge on full ticket. So what it says is, if you go and take a full ticket from one place to the other, you will have to pay the reservation charge, right? And you will have to also pay the fare, the travel fare that you have. Whereas if you go by a half ticket, the reservation charge is the same as the full ticket. The reservation charge is same, but the travel fare is half the travel fare of a full ticket, right? This is what is given to us in the first statement. So let us now decide which variables to assign. Reservation charge is definitely one component of the ticket, so I will assign it as X, right? And travel fare, if I decide the travel fare for full ticket is say Y, then the travel fare for half ticket would be Y upon 2, because it's given that the travel fare of half ticket is half the travel fare of the full ticket. So let us now see how to proceed with this question. So now let us consider the next condition that's given. It's given that one reserved first class ticket costs 216. So one full ticket from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, it costs rupees 216. So what will be the cost of full ticket? It will be the reservation charge plus the travel fare. That is going to be equal to 216. So what we are saying is, if X is the reservation charge and the travel fare is Y, then the charge for one full ticket will be X plus Y. Whereas the charge for one half ticket would be reservation charge plus half the travel fare as the full ticket. So it will be X plus Y by 2. Now this is one full ticket, so X plus Y is equal to 216. And now let us see what is the second condition given. One full and one half reserved first class ticket costs 327. So one full ticket plus one half ticket is going to cost you 327. So one full ticket will cost you X plus Y and one half ticket will cost you X plus Y by 2. That equals 327. X plus X is 2X and Y plus Y by 2 is 3Y by 2 is equal to 327, which means 4X plus 3Y is equal to 654. This is the second equation, right? So one equation is X plus Y equals 216 and the other condition is 4X plus 3Y equals 654. Again, X plus Y is the charge of the full ticket and X plus Y by 2 is the charge of the half ticket, the full charge of half ticket. So this is how I framed this equation, and now we should solve this for these two equations simultaneously. X plus Y is 216, so let's decide to eliminate Y. Let's multiply the first equation by 3. So you get 3X plus 3Y is equal to 216 multiplied by 3 is 648. And then we have 4X plus 3Y is equal to 654. So now if you subtract, Y will vanish. So Y cancels, and therefore what you get is negative X is equal to negative 6, which implies X equals 6. And if X is equal to 6, it means that the reservation charge is 6 rupees, right? This is the reservation charge. I can substitute X as 6 in the first equation to find Y. So 6 plus X, 6 plus Y, it should be Y. So 6 plus Y is equal to 216, which means Y is equal to 210. Therefore, the full charge for the full ticket is going to be 210 rupees. Now let's check if this matches what our situation is. The reservation charge is 6 rupees and the travel fare is 210. So for one first class ticket it costs 216. 6 plus 210, that matches. Now if you have one full and one half reserve ticket, the reservation charge here is also 6, but the fare is going to be half of 210, which is 105. So one full ticket will cost 6 plus 210, which is 216, and one half ticket will cost 6 and 105, which is 111. So one full ticket and one half ticket will cost 327 rupees. So this exactly matches the situation that is given to us, and therefore I will write the answer as follows. The basic fare for full ticket is rupees 210 and the reservation charge is 6 rupees. So this is how I went about solving this question. Let me pause for a minute so that you can take a look at how the variables were assigned and how the equations were formed. Okay, moving on to the next question now. So let us deal with the following question. A man sold a table and chair together for 1520, making a 25% profit on chair and 10% profit on table. So let me note that down. If he made 25% profit on chair and 10% profit on table, the selling price is 1520. But by selling them together for 1535, he made a 10% profit on chair, 10% profit on chair, and 25% profit on table, right? And this is the selling price. We have to find the cost price of each. So of course, the variables assigned should be, let the cost price of chair be C, be rupees C, and let the cost price of table be rupees T, right? Now let's find, if I make a 25% profit on the chair, right? When I make 25% profit on the chair, let me see what is my selling price. I know that selling price is cost price plus the profit, right? Now the selling price will therefore be, cost price of the chair is C plus I am making a 25% profit on chair, that is 25% of C, right? The profit made here is 25% of the cost price, because we know that the profit is always calculated on the cost price. So this is going to be C plus 25C upon 100. Now 25 and 100 cancels by 25. So this is C plus C by 4, which is 5C by 4. Therefore, the selling price here is 5C by 4. And now I am making a profit of 10% on the table, right? So 10% on the table. Let us now identify the selling price of the table. So again, selling price is going to be cost price plus profit. The cost price of the table is T and the profit that you made on the table is 10% of C, which is T plus 10% of T. So 10T by 100, which is going to be, if I simplify, this is going to be 1 by 10. So T plus T by 10 is 11T by 10. So this selling price is going to be 11T upon 10, right? So 5C by 4 is the selling price of the chair and 11T by 10 is the selling price of the table. That combined price, so 5C by 4 plus 11T by 10, I'm sorry, let us erase this, 11T by 10, it should be 11T by 10. This is equal to 1520. And of course I can find the LCM and get rid of the denominators here, or I could have also kept the denominator as 100 without simplifying, but that's fine. I think we will go with this approach. The LCM is 20, so let's multiply the whole equation by 20. I have to multiply this by 5, so it becomes 25C. 10 should be multiplied by 2, so it becomes 22T upon 20 is equal to 1520, which means 25C plus 22T is 1520 multiplied by 20, which is 30400. This is my first equation. Okay, so let me label this. This is my first condition. I am going to pause for a minute here so that you can take a look at what was done, and then we will continue with the next condition. Okay, let's move on to the next condition. So now in the second condition, I am making 10% profit on chair, right? So the selling price of chair will be the cost price of chair plus the profit, that is 10% of C. This is going to be C plus C by 10, which is 11C upon 10, right? So the selling price of chair is 11C by 10, and the selling price of table, the cost price of table is T and the profit on table is 25%. So it will be 25 by 100 times T. So this is T by 4. So this becomes 5T upon 4. Therefore, the selling price of chair is 11C by 10 plus the selling price of table is 5T by 4. This total is equal to 1535. I can again take a LCM of 20. So this gets multiplied by 2. It becomes 22C plus 20T. 25T. I have to multiply it by 5. So 22C plus 25T will therefore be equal to 1535. Take the 20 therefore multiplication. So you get 22C plus 25T is equal to 1535 into 20. So let's find that. 1535 into 2 is going to be 3070. So it will be 30700. This is my second condition, right? So again, I'm going to pause for a few moments. I'm going to let you see how we calculated the overall selling price. And mind you, over here, we are just not taking the profits because the total profit is not given. The total selling price is given, which is why we are adding the cost price and the profit. If only the profits were given, then you would be taking into consideration only the profits in the question, which would be C upon 10 and T upon 4, right? So because the selling price is given, we have to add the cost price to each of them. So again, let me pause for a few moments before I solve these two equations. Definitely the coefficients are swapped, so adding and subtracting is going to be a great idea to use in this solution. So let me pause for a minute. So let us solve these two equations now. So we have, let's add the two equations because the coefficients are swapped. So you get 47C plus 47T is equal to, it will be 600 and 1100. Let's divide throughout by 47. You will get C plus T. 611 divided by 47 will be 13. So 1300. So C plus T is equal to 1300. That's my third equation, right? And now let's subtract the two equations. 25C minus 22C is 3C and 22T minus 25T is minus 3T is equal to this minus this gives me minus 300, which means C minus T is negative 100. This forms my fourth equation, right? So now I have these two equations, C plus T and C minus T. So I can solve these equations simultaneously. If I add these, I get 2C is equal to 1200, which implies C is 600. And from this, T is going to be 700, right? If you substitute C as 600 in the third equation, you will get T as 700. Therefore, the cost price of the chair is rupees 600 and the cost price of the table is rupees 700, right? So this is how I solved this particular question. Let me pause for a minute. Okay, now let's consider one question which is based on profit. So consider the following question. On selling a tea set at 5% loss, tea set at 5% loss and lemon set at 15% gain, the shopkeeper gains 7 rupees. So this is not the selling price now. This is the gain that he makes, right? So that's the profit. And on selling the tea set at a 5% gain, and lemon set at 10% gain, the shopkeeper gains rupees 13, right? We have to find the actual price of the lemon set and tea set. So what I will do is I will start with some assumptions. Let the price of the tea set be rupees T, and let the price of the lemon set B rupees L. Okay. So now when they say that find the actual price, it means they are referring to the cost price, right? Because the profit and loss percent are always calculated on the cost price. So 5% loss, so loss of 5% on T set. So loss of 5% on T set will be 5 by 100 times T, that is T by 20. And gain of 15% on the lemon set, will be 15L upon 100, that is 3L upon 20. Now he is gaining 3L upon 20 and he is also losing 5% on T set. So minus T by 20 plus 3L by 20, the overall gain is going to be 7 rupees, right? So why did I assign a minus sign here? Because this is loss. He is going to earn money from the lemon set transaction, but he is losing money from the T set transaction. So the overall profit that is going to get is 7 rupees, which means I should subtract the loss of the T set from the profit of the lemon set. So this becomes minus T plus 3L is equal to 140. This is my first condition. Now let us find the second condition. It's given that if I sell the T set at 5% gain, so gain of 5% on the T set will be 5T by 100, which is again T by 20, and the profit on lemon set, so gain on lemon set, so gain of 10% on the lemon set will mean this is going to be 10L by 100, 10L by 100, sorry, let me erase and write it again properly. So this is going to be 10L by 100, 10L by 100 is going to be L by 10. Now both of these are gains, that means I should add up my gains. So T by 20 plus L by 10 is going to be equal to, the total gain is 13 rupees. So over here you will notice that I did not add up the cost price to both the quantities because the question had only gain in this particular situation, right? It did not have the total selling price. So I took into account only the gains and the losses made, and now the LCM is 20, so this becomes T plus 2L is equal to 20 into 130 is 260. 20 into 13 is 260. So this forms my second equation, right? This is the second equation. So let's mark it. And now I can solve the first equation and the second equation using simultaneous equations. If I add these two equations, T vanishes. So 5L is 400, which means L is equal to 80, right? So if you add minus T plus T cancels, 3L plus 2L is 5L, and 140 plus 260 is 400. So 5L equals 400 means L equals 80. And if L is equal to 80, if you solve this equation, you get T is equal to 100. So the price of the T set was 100 rupees and the price of the lemon set was 80 rupees. So let us write this as an answer. So this is how we can frame the answer as a statement. And one difference between this question and the previous one was, in the previous one, because the overall selling price was given, we were taking into consideration the cost price also, we were adding the cost price. Whereas in this question, only the gains are given, and that is why we take into account only the profit or the loss made in the individual transactions. Here you will notice that T and L are not getting added anywhere in the equations. So I will pause for a minute and we conclude today's session over here.